Thank you, sir. All right, so a couple of things. Again, Caden, not on the outside, no headphones in the center. Maddie, into the center. Come into the center. We should not be next to a wall. We should be closer to the center of the room so that we're inside, we're a family, we're helping each other grow and learn. Let's go. All right, really quick couple of notes for the next couple of days. Oh, crap, I still need to pass back the reflections. As soon as I get y'all started again, I'm going to pass back the reflections that I gave y'all feedback on. All right, over the next 3 days. First off, what do you have on Thursday? A test. Remember, it was supposed to be tomorrow. I am delaying it by a day so that you have the time to study. So I don't want to see us playing around with tongs and things like that, trying to, pretend like we're barbecue dads. I get it, it's fun, it's homecoming week, all that stuff. But I take your education seriously. You're all super capable of learning this stuff. But your effort and your attitude matters. Your effort and your attitude matters. I need us actively engaged in this learning process. Tomorrow is time for you to review. We're going to do a demonstrate understanding today. We're going to go over it immediately. I'm going to make scans and hand it right back to you so that you can use it to study. You need to have your iPad tomorrow because you either need to work on check your understanding questions to practice, because I can go ahead and tell you I know that the vast majority of us have not done the check your understanding questions based on the confusion that we have during these activities in general. Yes, sir.
Say that again.
You need to have your iPad.
No, I'm talking about what check your understanding question did you
All of them for linear, exponential, and quadratic. I'm about to show them again to you.
Oh, okay.
But everything for functions, mathematical representations, linear, exponential, quadratic. There's several students in my first block who they crushed it on the quadratics and they got to the linear exponential oh, Mr. Kinney, I totally forgot how to do all this. Okay, did you do your check your understanding? Well, no. Okay. Practice, practice, practice. Study the main ideas. It's going to help you. So what do you need tomorrow to help you study? iPad. Guys, bring your headphones, bring your iPads, watch the YouTube videos. I don't care how you study, but you are going to study. The only thing I will say is this. I'm going to leave it to the discretion of Ms. Rosinski tomorrow of who she lets talk and who she does not let talk, because I know that some of us like to get distracted. Tomorrow, after first block, Mr. Hobby is going to move everybody into rows, and I already have a list here that I'm giving Ms. Rosinski for who is sitting where, right? So rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your seat number, okay? If you are actively talking solely about the math, I'm going to let you move on Thursday or on Wednesday to help each other study and learn. During your test, this is where you're going to sit. On Friday, so moving into next week, next unit, we're solving quadratic equations. Meaning, we're going to take equations that look like this, and we're solving them to find x. Factored form, straight up, super easy. We already know how to solve this, right? Factored form, super easy. Vertex form, not too bad, but we're going to have to remember how to use our inverses and our properties of equality. And then standard form, we got to do a lot more work. So, I have already uploaded an assignment to what's called Carnegie Learning, or Mathia, to help you out. Now, I just want to quickly go over this so that you see it. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Friday, when you come in, you are going to go to Clever, right? All fun things go through Clever. By the way, if you're going to go to Clever, you're going to go to YouTube. What do you have to have with you on Friday as well? iPad. It needs to be charged. So go to Clever. Log in. Now, does anyone know the name of our curriculum that we have? The curriculum we're using. What does it say back there on those purple books, Brady? On the front. Yeah, the big white letters. Carnegie Learning. Our textbook is Carnegie Learning. I have favorited it. It's lower down for y'all probably. But Carnegie Learning, we're going to use this more moving forward because it's a great resource. So you're going to click on Carnegie Learning. It's going to pop up looking just like this. Now, from here, it's going to be a little bit different for us because I have more options. Here's what I need y'all to hear me very clearly on. I'm okay with this struggling. I'm not okay with this not doing anything as normal. I can actually go to Live Lab during this class period and check to see who is actually logged in, who has actively been working, who has been idle for however long. I need us actually using this resource to grow and to learn. That's your assignment. All class on Friday, I need us using this assignment. Does that make sense? The reason why is because I'm not just making you do an assignment. I'm not about that life. This is to help you be prepared for quadratics. Nothing I do is to waste your time. It's all beneficial. So, if you look, I have a workspace set up that is solving quadratic equations. If you feel really comfortable on what I'm about to show you, you can go ahead and start moving to this to prepare for that next unit. However, I actually created separate additional content for you under supplementary materials. And so, it's already unlocked. You can go access it. I just want you to see what this looks like. So this is the supplement. There we go. So you have readiness and solving. So if you go to readiness, it will say solving. And by the way, this is not what your page looks like. Yours is way prettier looking, but I couldn't pull it up. Solving two-step equations. And it'll pull this up for you. This is basic. If you're confident in this, you can actually blow through this really quickly. But it's to help you practice solving equations. And so, very simple two-step stuff. Work through these, okay? 10 equals 9 plus 5w. What's the first step? And by the way, I would write this out before trying to do it on the computer. What would be my first step to solve that equation?
You gotta move 10 to the other side.
Okay, so I'm glad I brought this up. I need everyone's attention on this because there's always debate about what I should do first. Here's my recommendation. This is what I want to solve for, right? That's what I want to know. What is the first operation happening to that w? Multiplying, right? Multiplication is happening to that w. After we multiply w by 5, then what's happening? I'm not doing anything yet. I'm just saying, like, what is already here? And I will point out I could also rewrite this because this might help some of you see it. 5 times w.
Subtract 9 from both sides.
But pause for a second. Yes, but pause for a second. What's happening in w? Multiplied by 5. Then what?
5
Added by 9.
Then it's added by 9. I just want you to be able to read the equation. If we think about our order of operations, parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, right? So multiplying is happening first. Then after that we have adding, right? So what was the last thing we said was being done to that w? Adding, right? What undoes addition?
Subtraction.
So this is the way to know what order to do things in. The last operation being done is the easiest one to undo. You can do other things, but that's easiest. 9 minus 9 is?
Cancel out 0.
0. 10 minus 9 is?
1.
And so notice, I'm trying to create those zeros and ones. So on here, there's an option that says subtract from both sides. I'm going to subtract 9. And so what equals 5w? And now what would I do to solve this equation?
Divide by 5.
So you can divide by 5. Remember my recommendation, especially because when we get into fractions, is I use that reciprocal. So if you want to, you can hit divide by 5 on both sides. But 1/5 of 5 or 5 divided by 5 is 1. I'm actually going to hit multiply. And it actually accepts this option of 1 divided by 5. Enter. Notice up here at the top, because I have not made any errors, it has filled in a whole bunch of these circles. It's going to have you keep working these until you have mastered those skills. And so if you're really good at solving equations like this, you'll master it pretty quick. Now, I want to look at this one really quickly just to show you some other features. Cameron, can you hit the lights for me, please? Just because I want you all to be able to clearly see this. Notice up here at the top, There's a solve it option, there's a sample problem, there's a step-by-step where it'll work you through it. You can also just hit hints. And it's going to give you hints, and it has 3 steps, or 3 hints per step here to help support you in being more successful. So if you are using your hints, if you are doing things according to what's built into here, this is going to help you learn a ton. This isn't just do it, it is learn from it. So what can you do to both sides of the equation to isolate any variable terms? Well, it's 8 times z, then we're adding 10, so I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. And so 8z is equal to negative 24. And we multiplied earlier, but, see, I accidentally hit the wrong thing, so it gave me an x. So I need to rethink it. Bless you. Bless you. Divide both sides. I'm dividing by 8. And there I'm done. One thing I'll point out about this is, if I were you, I wouldn't do this in the up here first. I would write it out and then follow my steps up there based on what I write out. Okay, that's what I would do. Once you are done, right, once you have mastered all this, there's a second space here. And this has reasoning about solving equations. And so it talks about these properties of equality that you've heard me discuss. You'll notice that this workspace looks different than the last one. The last one was to help us master. Right here, this is to help us understand the concepts. And whenever it's this way, the left side has information you need to read to understand what's going on. And then you answer questions on the right-hand side based on what you read. Okay? And so those are the 2 different types of workspaces. I need us, because this was, so I checked it, the way Carnegie set up, they said this should take about an hour and a half, which is perfect for the amount of time. Even if you don't finish, and that's like everything here, even if you don't finish, that's okay, but I do need to see that you've been actively working the whole time. Okay? Mr. Javi will also be here Friday to help support you, so there's no excuses for us in this class to not get it done. Yes, sir? What? Will I what?
Do we work with other people?
No, do it individually. Mr. Javi will be here to support you. This is there already. This is for you to complete. If you're working with other people, then you're doing it on one of theirs. And also, each of you will get different equations. So it's not going to be helpful for you to work with other people. Okay? So, if you get lost or get stuck on something, guess what? That's okay. You know what I uploaded already?
Your YouTube video.
Yeah, right here. It's 30 minutes long. You don't need all of this.
30 minutes.
Yep. Well, you'll notice that I time-stamped it. So, just logging into Matthews right here, how to use Matthew at minute 3. You don't need any of the solving quadratic equations part. So there's 7 or 8 minutes right there that you don't need. And then this is just how to get you in, and if you're stuck. So you can use YouTube to help you. You can use the hints within Carnegie Learning, but you don't need to, and you can use Mr. Hobby, but that's what we need to focus on to help us grow and learn. All right. Finally, is this the right one? Yeah, I'm going to label this as well, and I'll timestamp this one before I leave today. But this video right here is going through the workspaces, or the check your understanding, right? So if you've been struggling with linear and exponential functions and creating an equation, there it is right here at the beginning. As I said, I'll timestamp these. If you jump a little ahead, right, so I work it through, I narrate it.
2, which again, I would use that in the table.
So narrating and explaining how I'm creating the graph from that equation. If you jump ahead, I do the tables as well. And so I'm going to identify the names of the videos and what day the videos were on before I leave. And so here, if you were struggling with identifying linear, exponential, and quadratic, there it is. For those check your understandings. There is one that I have for the quadratic stuff as well. So, I don't care how you study, but I need a report from Mr. Zinsky that we are actively studying the whole time tomorrow to prepare for that test. All right, Ms. Rosinski. You'll find out tomorrow, I guess. She's in Miss Williams' class today, if you want to stop by and check. All right, really quickly. I just want to recap before we go over these couple problems and have you do a little bit more practice. Standard form. Guys, what should we be able to see in standard form right away without much work? Concavity based on... Concavity is based on A. Y-intercept is based on C. Okay? Guys, write out your three equations. You got to know those. Like, we've been working on them for about 4 days now. You got to know your equations. If you don't know them before you go to lunch, you better study them during lunch because it's a part of your demonstrate your understanding. You got to know those three forms. Okay? Factored form. Right? What do we see in factored form?
Factors.
The roots. Okay, so remember the roots stand for or give us our x-intercepts.
Concavity.
And concavity based on A.
A.
Then we move to that vertex form, and it's in the name, guys. With vertex form, what do I see?
Vertex.
The vertex.
Line of symmetry.
Line of symmetry.
And
Concavity. And guys, you got to know what the letters represent. R for roots, H and K for vertex.
Yeah.
Standard form has that A, B, and C. Okay, so well, I'm going to quickly go through this, but we need to notice what form do we have here? That's the first question.
Oh,
man.
Root, factored form, so I can see the what? The roots, right? Just remember, we always need the opposite, right? So
Yes.
-1 and -4,
Yep.
are those negatives?
Sure.
Yeah. Right? And like on an assessment, I'm going to give you an equation and ask you to identify the features and then graph those features, okay? Now remember, concave down is like a frown, okay? Concave up like a cup. I bring that up because like, so one, here, I saw some of us say this could not be that graph there. And I think Taj's reasoning was there's no y-intercept. Is that what we were thinking?
Pretty sure.
I said, yeah.
Originally, there's no y-intercept. But look, guys, is that going to stop here? No, it's still going down into the, well, to the right, and is eventually going to hit the what? That y-intercept is just going to be negative. Is this have a negative y-intercept?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is concave down. What was the issue with f3 of x?
The roots.
I say those roots are actually okay.
Concave.
Oh, the cake.
Be careful. Concavity is not positive. What is positive? A is positive, so concave up. Be careful of that language. Concavity is not positive or negative. Concavity is up or down, based on a positive or negative A. The roots were fine, actually. Remember, we need the opposite, right? -1, -4. I saw some of us say yes for f4 of x. What's the issue with f4 of x? The A is positive, right? That would tell me concave up. That's not concave up. Be careful here. With our vertex form, remember it's x minus h. So what would my h be in this one right here? 6. Is that h to the right and 6? No, this vertex is to the left. That's why f8 was correct and f6 was not. Right away, I will point this out. My roots are opposite here, right? -2 and +3, but my roots needed to be the same. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to, let's get through this part B before we go to lunch. Let's get to it. Part B before we go to lunch. Just focus on identifying which ones can go with that graph. Thank you, Cameron. Yes, ma'am. Or you can get a marker out. We need to have our heads up, engaging in the learning process during this time.
Oh, boy.
By the way, I don't know how I missed this when we came back, I guess because I jumped right into teaching, but does anyone know what happened with Caden?
He probably had to take a number 2.
For 27 minutes?
I mean,
If it takes you 27 minutes, you need to go get checked out.
what if he go get checked out after this?
Huh? We got to go over this. If you want to miss us going over this, that's your choice. All right, write out all three forms of a quadratic expression, name them, ID the features. Now, I know I said expressions, I meant to say functions, so if you only did the expression, you're fine, okay? Standard form, what should we know? F of x equals. All right, a lot of us at least knew that. Now, we need to remember, if I am identifying what we know, what does A tell us? Notice I did not put an equal sign here because A does not equal concavity, but A tells us concavity.
Exactly.
What does C tell us?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept. Whatever C is, that's going to be my y-intercept. 0, comma, whatever. Okay? By the way, I just started looking around. Make sure we don't have any pencils out, Jaquel. That's how you get a 0, is by writing in pencil on an assessment that we're going over, giving you answers. So clear the pencils completely off your desk. Only colored pencils or pens or markers. Okay, is there anything else immediately visible in standard form?
No.
No. Can you still find the vertex?
Yes.
Can you still find line symmetry? Can you still find x-intercepts?
Yeah.
Yes, we just haven't done it yet. That's what next unit's all about. Vertex form. What's my vertex form?
A to the x plus a, minus h to square plus k.
Pay attention to the details. Make sure, look letter by letter, make sure you have all these details. So what does A tell me? Concavity again. What else do I need to know from vertex form?
H and k to
H and K together give me my
vertex.
vertex. They're on the back counter, they're on the back bookshelf still, at the top. And then there's one other feature for that vertex form.
My line of symmetry.
Line of symmetry is what?
K.
Nope.
Well, you said what?
X of, yeah, X of H.
Yeah.
Remember, it's x equals h. Update that if you need to, because remember, it has to go through the vertex and it's a vertical line. Whatever h is, that's what your x value is going to be. Factored form. What do I need?
To my factor, A, then parentheses,
X, R1.
yeah, R1, and then X, R2.
Pay attention to those details. Once again, A tells me the
Concavity.
concavity. Now be careful. What do R1 and R2 tell me?
Roots.
Roots. Those are two different roots. Remember, as an x-intercept, they look like this. Do not make it a point, because roots are x values. It's not 1 point, it is 2 points. Make sure you are attentive to those details.
Indeed.
I apologize for the speed of this, but I want to be able to give this back to you before I leave to help you study. Actually, yes, you got to study guide. It's called the proficiency scale, and all the check your understanding questions. Say again. What do you think a study guide is? It's a guide to help you what? Study. And the proficiency scale tells you exactly what's going to be on the assessment. Check your understandings, demonstrate understandings, tell you exactly what's going to be on the assessment. I'm not going to vary, like, it is those same exact skills, just not the same numbers. All right. So what do we have here in the very first one? We got a standard form, right?
Yeah.
That looks just like ax squared plus bx plus c.
Oh my.
And now that we have it all written out there, and I would write this out, even if that's not a question on the assessment, I would write that out every time to help me out. What do I know from this standard form? I know concavity, because what does A equal?
Oh, dude.
So you can say a negative or -3, so concave down like a round. No, you don't, but it might help you, right? Negative, you're frowning if you're negative, right? Concave down like a frown. What else do we know? The y-intercept. Close. C is -2. What's the y-intercept though? Right?
Oh, 0.
If I'm asking for a y-intercept, I do want that point, okay?
Oh,
Now,
0, -2.
if you put a y-intercept to -2 and you do this,
That's wrong.
that is not completely correct.
Not at all.
What's the issue with this?
You don't got
Oh,
vertex,
X
I mean, you don't know your
You ain't got
vertex.
your,
Yeah, do we know that the vertex is also the y-intercept? No, so we don't want that. We want something like this. Just a y-intercept of -2 and concave down. Now, I'm going to take a few seconds, and I'm going to go over how to get the vertex here, because that could actually be really helpful. Remember, it's going to help us a ton next unit. What was the equation that we discovered to help us calculate h? Huh? Close. It's the opposite of b divided by...
To it.
So, the opposite of 6 is -6. 2 times a. What is -6 divided by -6?
Positive 1.
Positive 1. So notice I originally drew it like this, but actually my h is over here on the right hand side. So this would give me a more accurate graph. What's above this line? Necessary. What's below this line? Not necessary.
Unnecessary.
But if my input is h, what is my output? K. So if I substitute 1 in, and you can just type, well, can't type this into a calculator, but I try to make sure they're all nice, easy numbers. Again, this is also optional. So my vertex is actually 1, 1. Notice that just gives me a more precise graph. I also have my line of symmetry. This is what you would need for a CCC plus. This is what you would need for the exceeds portion of that proficiency scale. But notice that makes a more accurate graph.
Yes, sir, Mr. King.
Okay? Cameron, you with me? From there, also, this is again a part of the exceeds, but I now know my vertex. What's my h, by the way?
You said what's your H?
What is my a, sorry?
A. For which one?
For number 2.
-3.
So that doesn't change. What is my h?
Oh, you just did it. Oh, 1.
1, so x minus 1 squared plus 1. Notice that's once you identify h and k, converting it to vertex is actually super simple. So that's that extra detail that you could add in there to get higher understanding on the proficiency. Okay? I'm going to leave that written there so that you can see it, but we got 4 or 5 minutes left. So, number 3, what form do we have in number 3? Standard, or no, sorry, what is it? Factor, right? There we go. We got roots, we got A. This is going to be concave up.
Yep.
What are my, like a cup, what are my roots?
Negative. I mean positive 3 and negative.
-1.
Positive 3 and -1. Please remember that's not 1 point, that is 2 points. I saw at least one person putting that together as one single point, but it's 3, 0, -1, 0, and it's concave up. I will point out, if you notice, h would have to equal 1 because it has to be in between. So you could also get your vertex pretty easily, right? It has to be immediately in the middle. You average your roots. And g of 1 would come out to be -8. And so if you wanted to get that extra level, -8 would be about right here. That would be a more precise graph. Okay, got my vertex. Remember, you don't have to have your vertex for factored form, but I knew my h had to be 1, because doesn't that line of symmetry have to be right in the middle?
Yeah.
I think so.
Right in the middle of -1 and 3 is 1. Okay? So what did you have to have for 3a? What did you have to have? What features? You didn't have to have the line of symmetry. It's factored form. So I just needed the roots and concavity. The x-intercepts are my roots and the concavity. I just knew my line of symmetry because I know it has to be in the middle. That's it. So add those details into there. I gotta work quickly, but if I want my standard form, which you had to have, what do I need to do to help me get that standard form? Starts with a D. Distribute. I use that area model to help me. What we should have gotten X times x is x squared, minus 3x, plus 1x, minus 3, right? All I did was I multiplied my factors, or my terms. And so, got these like terms. I got x squared minus 2x minus 3. If I distribute that, g of x would equal 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. That's what we should have had for 3C, or 3B.
What if you did get that?
Then you got it wrong. If you had some ideas correct, then that's evidence of understanding. So you can make mistakes. Did you have the right idea and just made a mistake though? That's something to attend to. Alright, 4A. Features and graph. What form do we have in 4A? Vertex. So A is 1/2. This parabola is concave up. H is 3, K is -2, so my vertex is 3, -2, and my line of symmetry is x equals 3. So, line of symmetry, 3, -2, nope, 3, -2, and concave up. Remember, I didn't do it for any of these, but how can you always find that y-intercept? Substitute 0 for, remember, what do you know about every y-intercept that's ever existed? The x is 0, so you can always do that and substitute, simplify, and that'll help you have a more accurate graph. Hey, final detail, I just want to point this out. When I look at number 5, you see how you have your vertex here? And you have your roots here? So, if I were to ask you to write that equation, which forms, wait guys, do not pack up the demonstrated understanding. I need you to leave those on your desk so I can make a scan of it. Mr. Hobby will pass it back tomorrow. If I don't have a record of you doing it, then it's a 0. But guys, if you're trying to write the equation and you have a vertex, can you use vertex form? If you have roots, can you use factored form? Yes. If you want to work towards writing equations, I will leave a YouTube video on that. Remember, writing the equation is part of that exceeds portion. It is not necessary.
Goodbye.
Where's the video too, gang?
You're demonstrating understanding. I already got it.
You still recording, gang?
You want to turn it off?
I don't even know how to do that.
You hit the silver button.
What's the, oh.
On the right.